and good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our webinar, where we're going to be discussing innovative strategies for recruitment and retention. For those of you who may not be familiar with us, Morris Garritano is a full-service independent insurance agency providing commercial, employee benefits, and personal lines of coverage. As part of our ongoing value-added consulting services, today's topic is brought to you by Morris Garritano's Risk Management Unit. As we have seen, managing talent risk associated with your people is one of the most critical business risks all organizations are facing today. The purpose of today's webinar is really address and validate your pain points regarding hiring, recruiting, and retaining employees in the current labor market. We recognize the unique difficulties that have come about over the last year and a half and want to build awareness towards the services and resources that are available to you when it comes to finding quality candidates for your company. We aren't going to have all the answers here today, nor will we have any immediate fixes, but we're aiming to present some creative solutions and strategies to consider within your organization. Change is only constant in life, and the pandemic has greatly accelerated that sentiment. And with change comes challenges, but also major opportunity to innovate and do things differently, and oftentimes better than before. Whether it's our current situation or other environmental, political, economic, or technological risks, there's always going to be something that disrupts the status quo. For that reason, much of what we're going to focus on today is building long-term resilience and adaptability within your workforce. So we're super excited to have our panel of workforce experts with us here today. First up is Diana Marin. Diana is a business services specialist for the Workforce Development Board of San Luis Obispo County. She is tasked with engaging with local employers, economic development, education partners, and community-based organizations to address any gaps in an effort to maintain a healthy balance between local business and the workforce. Next is Allison Scheibo. Allison is the area manager for Eckerd Connects, operator of America's Job Center of California in San Luis Obispo. Her team at Eckerd Connects provide no-cost employment and training services to adults, dislocated workers, and youth ages 16 through 24 to help employer partners develop and maintain a qualified workforce. And then last but not least, we have Kelly Blackburn, who is the newest member of Morris Garritano's risk management team. Kelly is our HR business consultant. She has built a strong career of human resources and operations over the last 15 years, which has provided her with the knowledge and expertise to tackle HR needs of various industries, with special interests in employee engagement, training and development, retention, data analytics, project management, and organizational effectiveness. So our panelists have a wealth of expertise and insight into today's labor market. Although our panelists may be based on the Central Coast, much of the programs and resources we will be discussing are available in territories all throughout California. So please don't hesitate to reach out so we can help facilitate those connections if you're located outside the area. Now, upon registration, we asked each of you to share what you have found to be your biggest struggle when it comes to hiring, recruiting, and retention. We compiled your answers and found some overarching themes. So as we look to this next slide, we will see the top 5 pain points include candidates backing out, providing competitive wages coupled with the high cost of living, difficulty in retaining employees, lack of candidates in general, and then having difficulties finding qualified candidates. So while it can be nice to know that you are not alone in these frustrations, we are going to do our best today to set you up with some resources and strategies that will help address these barriers. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Diana to get us started.
Thank you so much, Nick. Good morning, everyone. As Nick said, my name is Diana Marin, and I'm going to be sharing some information with you guys this morning with regards to labor market information and some local figures and data for our county. Here, we're going to be learning about labor market information, and let's start off with what is labor market information. So basically, labor market information includes all the data and analysis related to employment in the workforce, information such as location and occupation, labor supply and demand, earnings, unemployment numbers, and demographics are all looked at when compiling and analyzing this data. Why is it important? So it's important because the data contained within this information helps make informed plans and decisions for a variety of purposes, including business investment decision-making, career planning and preparation for job seekers, education and training offerings such as specific programs based on the needs of employers, as well as public and private workforce investments. Every month, your local workforce development board, in other words, our team, puts out the latest figures for the county. And this information can be found on our website at sloworkforce.com, as well as our Facebook page, which is at Slow Workforce on Facebook. Next slide. So here is a visual of, on the right is a visual of the data that's put out every month by our team. It contains the latest figures for our county. As you can see, it includes the latest unemployment rate, labor force employment and unemployment numbers, as well as the industries that have experienced the highest growth and decline in the past month. This visual here on the right is actually for the month of June. The July numbers are expected to come out in about 2 weeks. And I just want to note on this slide that the unemployment rate for San Luis Obispo, the latest unemployment rate is quoted here at 5.8%, which is nearly double what it had been prior to the pandemic. So prior to the pandemic, we were lingering at about 2.5% to 3% unemployment. And so a 5.8% unemployment rate is, as you can see, nearly double what we had been at. On the left, I also included the latest rates for the state and the nation. Just a quick disclaimer, the latest unemployment rate came out for July, came out this morning, and it's 0.5% down. So the national unemployment rate is now 5.4%. So it came down 0.5% in the past month. So if we move on to the next slide. Here, I'm actually going to distinguish between industry and occupation because that's the information that I'm going to be providing this morning. So I'd like to explain that difference by saying that industry is the type of activity a person's place of work done at a place of work. So basically the type of business, whereas occupation is the kind of work or specific job a person does to earn a living. So a single occupation may exist in a variety of industries. Accountants, for example, may work for an accounting firm, and they may also be found in, say, a manufacturing company or a hospital or within the government industry. So that single occupation can span a multitude of industries. And so here, moving on to the next slide, we'll find the data for all industry in the United States, California, and SLO County, the top 5 industries. We're going to focus primarily on SLO County. And here in San Luis Obispo County, there are 21 industries represented. Of those 21, these are the top 5. The industries are listed in order by largest, meaning number 1 employs the highest number of people in the county. Number 1 here is the healthcare and social assistance industry, which includes businesses like hospitals, childcare, and nursing facilities. Number 2 here is the retail industry, which includes all retail from clothing and electronics to groceries and gas stations. Number 3 is accommodation and food service, which is all hotels, restaurants, and bars. Number 4 is educational services, so all schools, elementary through junior college and universities, including technical and trade schools. This also includes educational support services such as tutoring. And number 5 in SLO County is the construction and building related businesses, including commercial, residential, and road construction. Moving on to the next slide, we're going to cover the top 5 occupations. Again, I've listed them for the nation, the state, and SLO County. And focusing on SLO County, these are listed in order by the highest number of jobs held, or jobs or occupations held here in San Luis Obispo County. The number one occupation in SLO County is the office and administrative support occupations. And examples of these include office and administrative workers, court clerks, bank tellers, and bill and account collectors. Number two are food preparation and serving related occupations. And these examples of these are cooks, servers, bartenders, dishwashers, and hosts. The third highest occupation are sales and related occupations. Here we'll find retail and wholesale sales workers and their supervisors. Number four are management occupations. These are CEOs, COOs, legislators, advertising, marketing, and sales managers, as well as building managers. Basically, anyone in a management role within an organization holds a management occupation. And then the fifth largest occupation in SLO County is the transportation and material moving occupation. And examples of these include pilots, flight crews, all drivers from passenger vehicle to semi-truck and bus drivers, as well as ambulance drivers. This also includes occupations such as parking, service, and passenger attendants. So that concludes my presentation. I'm going to hand it over to Allison, who's from Eckerd Connects, who's going to be talking about the America's Job Center and the services they offer there.
Thank you, Diana. I'm happy to be here. I know this is an urgent topic for many of us on the webinar today. We just got some great information from Diana about the local labor market landscape, and I'd like to share with you a little bit now about information about the job seekers in the current market. What are some promising practices we see here at AJCC, and share some information about the solutions available to you at no cost through the public workforce system. The script has flipped from what we've all been accustomed to over the past decade. Job seekers and employees are really in the power position when it comes to recruiting and hiring. There's a lot of openings. People during COVID have retired, they've quit, they've turned to gig work in record numbers. There's competition within sectors that's led to high signing bonuses and wage wars. And then there's those expanded unemployment benefits that equal $18.75 an hour full-time for some people who are currently receiving benefits. Employees have really changed their criteria for work and what they expect from an employer, which makes it difficult to feel optimistic, I know. But here's some information to better understand who's looking and explore opportunities to maybe adjust your recruitment and retention efforts. What you see on your screen now is some demographics about who's looking in SLO County in the first 6 months of 2021. This data comes from the CalJob system. It's the online statewide labor exchange tool. It's all newly registered individuals in SLO County, a total of 1,859 people. Registration in this system is a requirement for people who are approved for unemployment benefits. It occurs in the first 3 weeks after being awarded unemployment. So what we're seeing is 57% of people who are in the system and seeking work are 32 years old or younger. 73% are under 45. 58% have a high school diploma or less, and over half of them, 54%, are female. There's 11% of people who are working, but not enough, so they're on unemployment and still looking. This is SLO County only, yes. And there's just over 1,500 people in the county in the system who aren't working and have resumes uploaded into the CalJob system. This data can help evaluate current recruitment strategies. And I want to talk for just a moment, take a quick deep dive into the impacts of COVID on our job seekers. Next slide, please. Here's what we know. We know that 2/3 of job losses during the pandemic were in low wage entry-level work. And locally, it's retail, leisure, and hospitality. These are people who typically don't qualify for unemployment benefits, and now they do. That's because they were working seasonally or part-time and maybe didn't have enough earnings to qualify normally. Those expanded benefits, that's one of the main reasons why filling frontline positions is so challenging right now. It's tough to compete with $18.75 an hour. These benefits we know end September 4th, so the outlook is good for an influx of job seekers. Our organization, Eckerd Connects, is nationwide, and anecdotally, in the areas where they've cut expanded benefits, there's 26 states so far in total, where they've ended, our programs have seen a spike in job placements. There's also structural issues that keep people from reentering the workforce, primarily childcare and the ebbs and flows of reopening, sometimes related to a lack of workers, sadly. People are now seeking out different opportunities that provide them flexibility to meet family obligations and future opportunities and plans. So they're looking for gig work, flexible hours, and opportunities to build skills so that they can either advance or change in their career. Another issue impacting the move back to work is the need for internet connectivity to apply for jobs, upskill with job training and education, and for some, a hybrid working model. This is especially hard on lowest earning individuals and families and those in rural areas of our community, with 9% lacking internet connectivity. COVID's forced us to change the way we work and how we look at the employer-employee relationship. I think there's an opportunity to use this to your advantage. Can you advance the slide, please? Thanks. Here are some opportunities and successful strategies for recruiting. First, do you brag about why you're a great place to work? There are some things you're probably doing that you don't even realize would be appealing to an employee. Do you offer 2 consecutive days off? Do employees get discounts on services or meals provided? Do you promote from within? And how do you express that loyalty in your job openings? You should take inventory of what these benefits and perks are and name them outright in your job postings. Get creative with where you look. Are you posting your opportunities where job seekers will find them? We've given you some information about the job seeker demographics. Do you appeal to those people? And are you in the right places? We've seen unconventional platforms like TikTok and Snapchat are places now where people are recruiting, and it's gaining traction. More than ever, people are looking for the WIFM. What's in it for me? Do you provide training opportunities? Do you promote from within? We recognize that this is a challenge for small businesses, but is there a way to work with other groups and businesses to pool resources? Do you have any connection to local training providers? And then reevaluate your minimum qualifications. Do you have flexibility to modify them? Can you capture more candidates by emphasizing transferable skills or familiarity with a particular industry rather than be tethered to years of experience or education within a specific job? And lastly, do you know and work with the system? What system? The workforce system, the public workforce system, free services available to you to help with recruitment and retention. Advance the slide, please. The public workforce system is operated here in San Luis Obispo County by Eckerd Connects with funding from the Department of Social Services and the Workforce Development Board. Eckerd Connects is a nationwide nonprofit, and in San Luis Obispo, we focus on workforce development. Our job is to connect job seekers to employers. You, the business, is our end user, and we exist to help you meet your current and long-term hiring needs. We're the single point of access to workforce development services. So we help people find work. We pay for job seekers to get trained. We help build work readiness skills. So what it means to be a good employee, the soft skills components, and help them expand their technical skills so that they can get living wage work here. But we do that to meet your needs. Advance the slide, please. Here are some of the services we offer to businesses in our community. The first is paid work experience. It's a structured internship. There's no obligation on your end to hire. We bring the employee on. We provide workers' compensation and liability insurance. It's an opportunity to maybe try before you buy. If you're filling a position, you're struggling to find candidates that meet your criteria. We may have people in our system who you could bring on at no cost. And if they work out, then you bring them on as an employee. Another option is if your business is has a project, or you're increasing, you need to increase your capacity, but you don't have enough money to do it, you can bring people on through this paid work experience to meet a short-term need. And then they come back to us and we help them fill other openings and find regular employment. Another option that we offer is on-the-job training. It offsets the cost of bringing on and training new hires. You know, it's a huge investment of time initially to get someone onboarded and skilled up to do the work, and it costs money. So we pay you we reimburse you up to 90% of your new employees' hourly wage to offset that cost of training them. We also can do upskill OJT, or upskill on the job training, to move an existing employee from frontline to supervisor or something similar to that. We know when you get someone on the team who's a good fit, you want to do what you can to retain them, and providing career advancement opportunities are obviously one of those things. And so we can help you do that. There's qualifiers for both work experience and on-the-job training, and we're happy to share those with you in a one-to-one consultation. We also offer recruit, screen, and refer services. We can use CalJobs to post your openings, scan for candidates that meet your criteria. We can contact them, gauge their interest and readiness, and refer them over to you if they're active in job search and ready to go to work. For those who are eligible to our programs, if they're ready to go to work for you, but they need some things like tools or a specific exam or some prep, we can fund those, because it's, you know, it can be costly at the beginning. And so we can help them get those things they need to be ready to start working for you. We also offer information about tax credits and other resources that are outside the scope of what we do. Please give us a call if you want to explore these options, how we might be able to support your hiring and retention needs. Our services are available to SLO County, but if you're here from somewhere else, there are programs and services, this funding, it exists everywhere in the state and in the nation. And so we're happy to connect you to the staff in your area. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Allison. So I'm here to kind of wrap everything up into a pretty package. Diana and Allison both were able to really understand and lay the landscape as to what our businesses are operating in. Now, I think we need to adjust our thinking. We need to think differently. The conventional hiring approaches of yesterday are just not the solution that we need today and in the future. Next slide, please. So why are we here? So for the first time in a generation, the employees have gained the upper hand, and employers obviously need to adjust their hiring strategies that encompass the quality of life as well as the humanization of the employee. People are not just a number on a page. They're human beings, and that's what they're looking for. But what has been behind this development? Well, there's several different things that have created the environment that our businesses are operating in. Migration, people are simply moving out of the area. Preferences, workers that spent years in one industry are looking at other industries for opportunities. The economy, we all know that the economy has shifted, and that has also created changes in our workforce. And one of my favorites and one of the most stinging points is employees have an ability to choose because of the extended unemployment benefits and the relief funds that they've been able to collect on have given them time to be a lot more selective in their next opportunity. Next slide, please. So I think we also need to know, in terms of quality of candidates, that seem to be a top priority of most of our registries listening in today. So I think first and foremost, we need to understand what are skills. Skills are what make a quality candidate. And obviously, skills are not forever skill sets. They have a very interesting shelf life. And in terms of their longevity, as you can see under the skill durability, perishable, semi-durable, and durable skills have a shelf life of no more than 7.5 years, which makes sense as to why the World Economic Forum has estimated that 50% of all employees will require reskilling by 2025. And to encompass the top skills for 2025 will include problem solving, self-management, working with people, technology use and development. Next slide, please. Well, what are perishable and durable skills? They're probably not familiar to commonality terms that you've heard. Most of us are very familiar with soft and hard skills. Well, talent researchers are starting to inject this new terminology in how we review candidates. Perishable skills are just how it sounds. They're dependent short-term skills that don't last very long and are usually very industry and organizationally specific, meaning they're done for the company structure, they're backed up by your policy or the culture that you wanted to keep in place into your business. Semi-durable skills are those that technically remain pretty relevant with the assistance of tools such as technology, programs, processes, things in place that will really help to supplement those changings. But eventually, as the industry grows and expands and evolves, those will become less relevant over time. And finally, durable skills. Those are those all-encompassing independent skills or personal disposition, like leadership capabilities, communication traits, things that are transferable from one industry to the next and withstand the changes in the workforce needs. Next slide, please. And a lot of research in regards to skills is you need to change your conversation and start thinking about skills in a new way and start reviewing your job descriptions, reviewing your job postings, and reviewing the positions within your business to really identify and answer these three questions. Are the skills more durable or perishable? Are they transferable between roles and job families and industries? And are skills in demand and will they be so in the future? Key point here, and remember, businesses need to realize that many of the right now skills will be less valuable and or irrelevant in 2 years from now. Next slide, please. And before I get started here, we'd like to put a poll out to our register staff in terms of finding qualified candidates. When was the last time you revised your job description? Please select anything that is relevant and or aligned with what you do in your company. We'll give you some time to answer that. All right, hopefully everybody made their selections. In terms of job descriptions, so we have to dust off our old job descriptions. You need to start looking for talent and not just the title on a resume. Stop looking backwards. Don't let the position fool you. Look for those durable skills within those candidates, whether you feel that they're qualified or not. See which ones are going to last you for the longevity of your business. And again, resumes are meant to highlight what they can do for your business. And be open. Stop looking for those purple unicorns. You will not find them. Maybe in your child's cartoon character, but not in today's workforce. And also create healthy search conversations. Focus your conversations and try to answer the questions of what are we looking for, not who are we looking for. Again, you're looking to fill the position and the role and the need of your organization, not to compare against the person that just left that role. And what do we need as an organization? What are the true needs versus wants? And be very clear at that. That'll help you narrow into a qualified candidate, as well as what partnerships can we make within our business, which leads me to collaborate with your team. They have a better understanding of the job and what works and what doesn't. What's going to make them successful day in and day out? What are the actual things needed to make them successful day in and day out? And they can identify those perishable and durable skills to really understand the emerging, expiring, and evolving skills of the job. And finally, sell your business. Job advertisements is where you can make a difference. Use them to highlight what your business can offer. Again, dust off those old job descriptions. Use pictures to illuminate the culture and what you want to highlight as to what makes you an employer of choice against the crowd. And then there's one final poll I would love to understand, knowing in terms of selling your business, is what search engines are you using to advertise your business? please make your selection below. And if none are listed, please utilize the chat to then go ahead and list what sites you're utilizing in your business.
Just FYI, we will be sharing these at the Q&A session. So we're not hiding the answers.
All right, and the next slide, please. Now, once you've found a candidate, it's all about, there's a couple key areas in terms of creating the experience. Think of people, not the position. First and foremost, candidates are asking a lot more questions, and a lot of them are going to make or break your ability to hook, line, and sink that candidate. You need to become prepared to answer some of these highlighted questions, and a lot of them are very relevant in today's very adaptable landscape that we're finding in. Is what happened in the first few months of the pandemic, and be honest. What did your organization do in terms of altering hiring or changing the nature of the work? How did your business operate differently pre and post, and hopefully in the future? And then also, clearly, what safety precautions are you taking for those on site? You can highlight the air ventilation systems, and highlight things that you have done to create a safe and environment to encompass the well-being of your employees. And while you're diving into so you've done your interview and everything seems hunky-dory, again, come prepared with what we call an employee value proposition, or EVP. These are areas that will identify the unique set of benefits and attributes that your business can offer, and that are the most attractive. Zero in on what candidates need, not just what they want. And develop one that defines the essence of your company. Workforce wants a good, inclusive culture. How do you do that? What sets you apart from similar businesses in your industry? Next slide, please. Which leads me to my final point. Emerge as the employer of choice. Create a collaborative community approach. What do we mean by this? Consider what other businesses can offer that you don't, and create a partnership. If you're a restaurant down the street from a hotel, can you and that hotel create a creative composition or compensation package where it can highlight both great value on your business and your partner down the street? These type of benefits can include employee sharing programs, flexible work schedules, childcare incentives, rideshare programs, pet services and events, financial well-being, hospitality discounts, meal programs, employee referrals, reward programs, card maintenance and services reimbursements, gym memberships, family events, educational development and reimbursements, as well as mental health stipends. The list can go on. So start talking, you guys. This is what's going to make you guys be able to be sustainable in the future, is create that collaborative community approach that we all love in this community and other communities outside of San Luis Obispo. Thank you, and that ends my presentation for this time. I will pass it off to Nick Sullivan to open up our Q&A session. Thank you, everyone.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. I know we threw a lot of information your way, but right now, why don't we go ahead and share some of the results from the polls we posted. All right, so the first question we asked was about job descriptions and job postings. Pretty evenly distributed across the board when it comes to both. Obviously, the pandemic shook things up for everyone, needing to adapt and adjust not only their descriptions, but how they're posting. And then next we asked which jobs posting sites is everyone using? We've got Indeed as the front runner there, but pretty distributed across the board, from Craigslist, LinkedIn, Slow Jobs, social media. I know Allison mentioned uptick in TikTok and Snapchat as some alternative social media avenues to post jobs these days. So awesome. We also had in the chat ZipRecruiter and state job boards as well. So all good tools and resources. So Q&A, we got a couple questions here. Allison, I was going to start with you. How can people get in touch with you directly or Eckerd Connects in general?
I will put our contact information in the chat.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. Also for you, Allison, if we find an employee through direct recruitment, can we refer that employee to go through your OJT program?
Yes, I'm really glad you asked that question because good grief, it's hard enough to find employees. I don't want to add anything to your list of things you need to do in order to get them onboarded. Like I said, there are qualifiers, but what I can do is send to you a link. The way we work this is if you find someone who is a good culture fit, but is lacking some of the technical skills to do the job straight away and need some training, you give the candidate a link, or we have it as a QR code if you're meeting with people face-to-face. They answer some screening questions. We do a preliminary interview with them, and then we'll call you back and let you know what they're eligible to and how we can best support them getting onboarded based on the criteria. It's not something you can ask during an interview, a pre-employment screening process, but we can feed back to you exactly what they're eligible to, yes.
Awesome, thank you. We've got one in here that says, our experience has been that new hires come on board and find that performance expectations are too high and work environment is too busy. Curious if others are experiencing that. Maybe throw it in the chat if you're seeing the same thing in your recruitment strategies, but I'd like to open that up to the panel at the same time. Have you seen that, or are there any recommendations that maybe we could provide to maybe mitigate some of that?
I think I can allude to that a little bit. I think this kind of goes into the transparency. I think we're understanding that a lot of businesses are running what I like to call a skeleton crew. They're a lot more busy and a lot more, there's a lot more like bouncing back and forth in terms of people wearing multiple hats. And I think employers need to be very transparent with what they're going to experience. Now, there are very case-by-case basis where you are transparent and they still get the same answer. Then, you know, you have to be acceptable of that and move on to the next individual, or, you know, maybe have a progressive conversation with that candidate and ask them maybe what you could have done differently, or are there other opportunities within the organization that can be better utilized? So it's not just a one-shot deal, because the last thing you want is to say, oh, sorry, I guess this isn't the job for you. Be a little bit more open for other areas of the organization where maybe that person can be more effective. But again, I think it's transparency. And I think that's really what's going to set a lot of employers apart from others in this trying time, is be honest, because that's what a lot of these potential candidates are looking for. And that may set you apart from the guy down the street that said, oh yeah, everything's great and fine and dandy. And then they go that way and find it's something completely different. So transparency again is very key, but be open for other conversations that maybe it's not just a one-shot deal. Look for other areas that person may be better suited for.
Awesome. We just got another one. Says, I'm sure others are experiencing difficulties with wage compression and minimum wage increasing, plus the unemployment benefits. How are people dealing with bringing on new employees at wages that are the same, if not more, than employees who have been with the company for years? So, Kelly, any insights?
Yes, I know that this is a huge sticking point. I know that dollar amount, I think with all the benefits, it comes out to, I think, about $18.75, correct me if I'm wrong. That's a hard number to overcome. However, I think we need to also focus that hopefully this is a temporary solution, and employment should be a long-term solution. So again, look for creative ideas that maybe can overarch an overall compensation package. Don't just focus on the hourly wage, but again, having that collaborative approach with fellow businesses of other services or reimbursement programs, or things that can maybe help to bump that overall package to really create something above what they're going to get unemployment. Unemployment doesn't offer medical benefits. So I think that's another upsell that businesses maybe don't sell or undersell themselves on, or maybe up your contribution to those for the time being. So it's a hard thing that we're having to deal with. I know money talks, but I think, again, the point is to really think outside the box on what other benefits or what other things can your business offer that's going to create some longevity and sustainability for those potential candidates. Because right now, everybody's been used to feeling a sense of normality, getting that candy dangled in their face, and then the rug comes right out from underneath them and pulls them. Businesses like are dealing with the same thing. So I think that's really where your conversation needs to be lying in some of your focuses. Great question. It's hard. I don't have all the answers. I don't think anybody has all the answers. So, maybe even asking them in their interview process. I have heard of businesses asking, what other benefits other than the dollar value are you looking for? Especially if you have a very aggressive compensation package. Ask the question. Interviews are a two-way street. So it's not just about you drilling them with questions and them answering them. It needs to be a conversation. So I think having that ability to ask that information when you have people in front of you could make or break the deal, and could allow and allude to other solutions that maybe you just haven't considered.
Another thing to consider is talk to your current staff, ask them what they like about their job, and then you can share it with your perspectives, right? Like our staff say they like working here for X, Y, and Z. That way, when someone's coming in, it's not you telling them, it's your current staff saying this is what we love about our culture, our environment. And then once they start working, they're going to hear it again from that current staff, and hopefully they'll stay because now they're feeling inclusive, right? And then it also gives your current staff an opportunity to feel more included, right? Your opinion and your views are valued, and we're sharing them with, perspectives and people we're interested in hiring. I think it adds a lot. It speaks a lot. Sometimes we don't think, or as employers, we're not necessarily in tune with what is happening, with our staff. And so when you start developing those conversations, there becomes more of a sense of inclusion for everyone.
That's great. Somebody mentioned so many younger applicants aren't looking for medical benefits because they're still on their parents' plans. Allison, I know showing your demographics, it's much of the younger workforce that is actively seeking jobs right now. Have you seen anything that's maybe worked or not worked with the younger generation?
So a stipend or an increase in their hourly earnings that match that is a good opportunity to catch them.
Awesome. So we mentioned job sharing a little bit throughout the presentation. Maybe we can speak a little bit more about what we're seeing with that. So Kelly or Diana, have you seen any success stories through that?
So I can probably kick off a little bit about what job sharing could be or could look like. Basically, it's partnering with another business and maybe creating incentives for your staff based on your mutual businesses, right? So as Kelly had mentioned briefly in her presentation, if you're a restaurant and you have a hotel down the street, like what kinds of perks can you offer their staff, and what kind of perks can they offer your staff? And then finding that medium that works for both. Kelly, you can jump in if you have anything to add.
Oh, Dawn, are you?
I'm on mute still. Sorry. Can you hear me now? Locally in our county, we've heard the hospitality industry is taking this opportunity at times to either provide full-time work or to allow workers to maybe have a long commute to their job to work maybe a longer day, right? So instead of 5 8-hour days, they're working 4 10-hour days. And they might do that through working one shift at one hotel and then continuing another shift at the other hotel. And so together they're getting full-time wages, and maybe cutting down having to make that commute 5 days a week. Or so you're sort of just looking at different opportunities, whether, as Diana said, you can share with another industry or within your same industry that's also struggling. Can you piece different things together to make something, a schedule that works better for that worker?
Awesome. Thank you, Don. Okay, well, it doesn't look like we have any additional questions. Before we wrap up, are there any additional points any of the panelists would like to touch on before we take off? Oh, okay, sounds good. Well, thank you everybody for being here with us today. And thank you for all of our panelists, Diana, Allison, and Kelly. As a reminder, we will be sending out this recording and posting it on our website. We'll also include additional contact information for our panelists. We will continue to bring you webinars on topics that can help protect your business operations and your employees. So please keep an eye out for those emails. Thank you again, everyone, and have a great rest of your day.